control it, your own narrative. I mean, everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be able to be remembered the way they wanted to be remembered. So that's a blessing. Hi, this is Rick Owens. Study my own stuff more than other people's, which is a terrible admission of some kind of ego, but it's but anyway, yeah, that's how I kind of feel like I can make progress, by studying the mistakes and successes of my past. So.
Born in 1962, Richard Saturnino Owens, or Rick Owens as he has come to be known, grew up in Porterville, California. The only son to John and Connie Owens, his father a former social worker and his mother a school teacher of Mexican descent, raised Owens under a strict Catholic upbringing that went beyond the conventional. Owens' relationship with his father was tenuous in the early years. TV was forbidden, and Owens' external influence was limited to a regime heavy on literature, philosophy, and classical music. It is during this time that Owens formed an appreciation for intellectual and cultural pursuits that would later influence his life's work. In particular, his studies on Japanese culture led him to develop his aesthetic of broken idealism, stemming from the Japanese appreciation of damaged objects. In Japan, when a piece of pottery is broken, it undergoes the art of repair known as kintsugi, the act of filling cracks with molten gold to reconstruct the object, and in the process make record of its history, whilst at the same time transforming it to something new, stronger, and in possession of greater beauty. Owens even took this transformation upon himself, undergoing a physical change over the years, dyeing and straightening his hair, trimming his brows, and reconstructing his muscle to reflect his aesthetic ideals.
One element of seduction is indifference. When you are flamboyant in an indifferent way, that kind of indifference is seductive. Just the attitude of almost rejecting classical beauty and doing the opposite almost kind of can enhance a feeling of seduction.
For Owens, surviving the small town within a strict conservative family was both isolating and difficult. Despite his entrapment, he managed to find pockets of inspiration. At school, he was drawn to the dramatic aspect of the Catholic Church and their dragging robes. This penchant for drapery and movement became the foundations of his signature pattern making. His mother, too, is a gifted seamstress, though she takes no credit for her influence. With his parents, it was always thus, a dichotomy of discipline and support, of hard conservatism and sweetness that would in turn form the hallmarks of Owen's own affable character. Against his father's hope that he would become an architect, Owens embarked on a creative path that would soon pluck him from obscurity.
So it's because I'm trying to present something that makes us feel a little insignificant and kind of puts everything into perspective. Things that were important to me in the past, things that were kind of milestones.
failing to value the aesthetic freedom that only true independence affords. A freedom which was celebrated prominently in Vogue 2001. Anna Wintour, at the behest of Courtney Love and Sally Singer, Vogue's then fashion news director, commissioned one of the world's top photographers, Annie Leibovitz, to capture the rising star of Owens. The photo shoot set Owens against punk musician and friend Kembra Fowler. Owens's world is one inextricably linked to music. His revolutionary designs have the attitude of the punk rebellion, and Leibovitz managed to capture this energy which defines the Rick Owens woman. A year later, Owens took the designer's pilgrimage to Paris, where he now permanently resides. Despite learning little of the language, the French remain quite taken with the avant-garde designer, whose work is constantly in print and on the back of well-dressed women. These days, the designer can be found in close proximity to his home, an independent atelier, both of which are fittingly centered in the former headquarters of the French Socialist Party. The building is outfitted to reflect Owens' aesthetic agenda, and incidentally is situated opposite the French Parliament. It is ironic that Owens, once pursuant of a career in the arts, felt he had no voice or intellect worthy of its field, since he is one of the few designers to articulate the context and agenda behind his designs, and quite literally has aligned himself next to a house of political influence. Perhaps it is his way to stay in touch with the zeitgeist, as he explores his overarching themes afflicting humanity.
I just think that runway shows are a great opportunity to talk about things other than just skirt lengths and accessories. I think there are so many elements of beauty that we can talk about in a fashion show that are not just hair and makeup and the set. I think we can talk about beautiful aspirations and beautiful behavior, and I kind of like that.
Upon his arrival in 2003, Owens was picked up by the historic Réveillon Frères to breathe new life into the fur industry. His modern skew on the material did just that. Susie Menkes, who reviewed one of his collections for the International Herald Tribune, stated Owens knocked the stuffing and stuffiness out of furs. In 2006, Owens broke away to launch his own line of furs with Lamy. The Palais Royal boutique opened in a French arcade of the same name. By 2008, Owens was a regular staple of the French fashion set, and back in his native US, the designer was set to open his first American boutique in downtown Manhattan. His turnover quickly reflected his growing international presence, with over 250 high-end stockists worldwide, and a cult following propelled by a celebrity clientele as diverse as the formidable Helena Bonham Carter to the perennially youthful Olsen twins. Though Owens himself prefers to resist the cult label, concentrating instead on designs that will surpass mere trends and will lend gravity to his conceptual pursuits, it is for this reason he injects quality luxury fabrics of cashmere and organza up against leather, eel furs, and ostrich feathers that push the boundaries of his drapery and act as a platform for his mix of musical influence from the goth movement to the classical training of his youth. Yet his clothes do not exist in a vacuum. They are part of the Rick Owens planet, delivered in the context of one of his many controversial fashion shows. His obsession with evolution not only underlined many of his collections, but inadvertently was biographic of the brand's own transformation.
I like the idea of kind of creating this universe that is thinking of the ancient and the futuristic at the same time, something kind of bigger.
In 2015, the same year as his father's passing, Owens took his collections into some very dark territory, exploring his interest into sociology and anthropology. His 2015 autumn-winter collection, which highlighted male genitalia, was a shock for audiences, especially for front-row members. However, he managed to pull it off as a tastefully thought-out approach, dressing models in oversized peephole garments that gave only flashes of what was beneath. Contextually, it goes back to Owens' own observation of the human desire to procreate as a means of defying death, and what impact that could have on overpopulation. Clearly more message than ready to wear, but a masterstroke in brand building, receiving the kind of attention one would expect. This was also not an isolated event. In the Palais Royal boutique, Owens had installed a nude anatomical copy of himself for window shoppers. Albeit covered up, this was by no means a measure of modesty, with inspections welcome to anyone game enough to unlock the mystery of Owens' physicality. Owens also posed for Britain's ID magazine, in a debased double image of the designer urinating into his own mouth, as if to say he is both the aggressor and the submissive participant of the fashion establishment, splitting his identity in an effort to undercut conservatism and convention. These anti-fashion antics stems from Owens' belief that his shows are a tribute to a type of humanity, which is why he has always cast specific real people for shows, not beautiful by conventional standards, but in possession of a story of self-confidence and attitude, like Owens has crafted for himself. In line with this value, Owens created a rather speechless moment for his Spring-Summer 2016 show. Speaking fondly of this show in particular, Owens wrote about how he had created the collection. Owens gives new meaning to functionality through his minimalist aesthetic. Owens wanted his brand to reflect his holistic design aesthetic. Owens' corp is ever-evolving, classic and contemporary, and present in every diffusion line, including a children's collection and furniture line that he founded in 2007. His environment, the objects and their surroundings form an extension of his clothes, allowing him to stretch his design prowess. Beyond outfitting his studio and shops to reflect his vision of what he calls broken idealism, Owens' next natural step was to venture into product design, bringing an influence of cubism and raw animal materials to well-thought-out pieces. Consequently, his critically acclaimed furniture became the subject of a 2016 exhibition, curated by LA's own Museum of Contemporary Art. The exhibition, installed by Lamy, spans their classical collection with a heavy injection of new works, conceived for a recently opened New York boutique in Soho. Owens often credits Lamy with the execution of his ideas. In an interview with WWD, Owens explained their process as an intimate exercise, a conversation between me and Michelle.
I mean, I know that I have like the main plan and it's pretty strong, but a lot of times her instincts are a lot better than mine. I mean, it's been proven time and time again. So I definitely trust her instincts over mine.
The exhibition, like the furniture line, is a passion project with the advantage of adding greater dimension to what Owens himself refers to as his planet.
I don't believe in clothes that take 5,000
hours of embroidery that you wear once to a gala. The furniture, it's the same idea, it's the same principle. It's labor intensive, rare, it's something that is kind of stationary and a little bit eternal. I like that as the idea for couture more.
The closest we have come to stepping onto his planet was the 2017 retrospective. The self-curated exhibition held at the Triennale di Milano is for Owens like putting on any one of his 4 seasoned shows. And yet it is a culmination of his experience and self-invention that has spanned his 23 years in fashion. The exhibit will feature Owens' furniture and fashion contribution, including a lineup from his recent collections, Mastodon and Walrus, which move from thoughts of man facing prehistoric extinction to an about-face of optimism with his glitter collection. Owens reminisces over this conundrum, telling WWD that he loves being able to manipulate a space and create a utopian vision. I'm completely aware of the poignancy of reaching for something that is unattainable. That is the beauty of utopias. It's only a matter of time before they're corrupted. It's not lost on Owens that he actively corrupts his own vision. His clothing and furniture stand like classical figures in a temple, cast in the shadow of a 330-foot-long black globular. This eclipse, according to the New York Times, made up of an amalgamation of man-made and natural materials, including the designer's own hair, represents the Trojan horse Owens proclaimed nearly 20 years ago to lay a black, glittering turd on the white landscape of conformity. If we were to ascertain its success, we might as well ask the question Owens posed with one of his infamous brand books, L'ai-je bien descendu? French for How Well Did I Descend? In the eyes of the Council of Fashion Designers of America, that seems an inapt point. In 2017, the CFDA honored Owens yet again with the prodigious Lifetime of Achievement Award, and to mark the occasion, Lamy presented the award at the suggestion of Owens. Ever gracious, for Owens this was an opportunity to acknowledge the impact and contribution of Lamy on his own success and happiness.
I wouldn't be here without Michelle. And I wouldn't be here without my brilliant partners, Elsa and Luca. One of life's fundamental needs is to be listened to. Thank you for allowing me to feel heard. Thank you.
Based on this foundation, the Rick Owens label continues to strengthen and grow, whilst the man himself is further developing as a designer. Having refused several offers to sell out a part or all of his company, this renegade chooses instead to reign supreme. His self-invention has been his greatest creation. For the fashion world anyway, this is for certain.
If this amazing Rick Owens Renegades of Fashion story has moved or inspired you, you can now get the companion hardcover, softcover, or ebook directly from Fashion Industry Broadcast with just one click via Amazon Books, delivered to your door in just days. Each of our 11 Renegades editions in this collection is a lavishly illustrated retrospective of the designer's life's work, lovingly told and displayed in over 400 pages in glorious colour. Hundreds of his runway collections are recorded in lavish detail. You can find the link to the Amazon sales page in the description box below. This essential Renegade story coffee table book can be in pride of place on your coffee table within the week.